do it, I do it and with 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 it, I do it.
Look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No, 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 no.
Okay, just stop for a second. I know you're writing the comment. I know you're already at your keyboard writing the comment. Yes, I am fully aware of what I titled this video and the intro that I have modified, okay? And there's a reason for it. There is a full, detailed reason for it, right? But you're not here to see that unless you really want to know about some other stuff that's going on behind the scenes, and I'd like to discuss that at the end. You're here to hear about the topic at hand. So I'm not going to waste too much more of your time. We're pretty much going to dive into it, but before you all get your asses out and go completely batshit insane, type in the comments, yes I know, and if you would like to know the reason, just wait until the end and then we'll do it in the outro section. Okay, so I won't keep you any longer on this bit because I know you're all here to hear about Nintendo's very, very stupid move. So we'll just dive into that right away. Another day, another AAA company being stupid. This time Nintendo. But boy oh boy, did no one expect to see such a level of incompetence from them as they're already walking on the razor's edge. Across the course of last week, Nintendo unveiled their new system, the Nintendo Switch. The presentation was pretty good, but it had the community split in half. Some praising the ideas, some loathing that it's got a butt-ton of gimmicks once more, what with the HD rumble, motion controls, and cameras that show off your hands. But whatever, despite a bit of skepticism, even the most skeptical and critical said it was no big deal, and despite the fact that it was not even coming with a tie-in game, myself and many others were still willing to drop $300 on the new Nintendo Switch. Then, the next day came around, and they started to show their true colours. Bowser and his son showing us the basic features like parental controls and online communication is not a basic system setting, but now instead you have to download an app on your smartphone, providing of course you have a smartphone. The online service was a joke, making you pay for a subpar service due to the whole smartphone thing, and then saying that you get one free ROM a month as a rental before Nintendo takes it away from you and you have to buy it. And of course, all the little extras like the Pro Controller and other controllers and add-ons like the charging dock costing $70 to $100. Rather off-putting, many like our aforementioned Mr. Sterling and Review Tech USA were quick to jump on this, making their own journalistic videos criticising the Switch for its flaws and pointing out where Nintendo was going wrong. And normally, that's where it would end. Some hyped up D-grade YouTuber with a couple 100,000 subs or so makes a video bashing the thing to vent some frustration, then the thing comes out to okay sales regardless. So normally, that's where it would end. However, Nintendo being Nintendo took it one step further, posting a Twitter video. The video in question showing off 1-2 Switch and showing that Nintendo wasn't being completely truthful about the thing. The $50 tech demo that is sold separately was marked as a party-style game that you would not need a TV for, as all the games feature around the two Joy-Cons and their cameras and the HD rumble and so on. But the video shows the exact opposite, and here is two guys being forced to look at the screen to crack this safe. So clearly you do need a screen and Nintendo isn't being all that honest. Many including myself were quick to save the Twitter video, and many including myself were quickly making videos to point out this flaw in 1-2 Switch. But then something strange happened, that being that the trending thing on Twitter got a new trend. Now, trends come and go all the time, mainly within minutes. You know, when Donald Trump got the keys the other day, the trending tab was all Donald Trump got the keys, but then within 2 hours of him getting the keys and the parade dissipating, gone. But this particular trend was so strangely named. That being named, we have nothing to announce at this time. Who doesn't? Curiously, my friend clicked on the trend and it linked to a Kotaku article. The article in question was by Jason Schreier, and he had sent questions to Nintendo, and they had sent him the questions back, completely filled in. And holy shit, this is the interview? We're going to cover the interview in a moment, but I just want you to keep in mind that within mere minutes of Nintendo putting up that 1-2 Switch video, making themselves look a bit misleading with 1-2 Switch, Jason puts up this full article that takes it from looking a little misleading to just what the fuck are you doing and trying to sell people. With the Switch now being less than 2 months away, we are talking 1 month and 2 weeks here, there is still a lot of basic information about the Switch that general consumers really need to know before they're willing to drop $300 plus into this thing. And some of the questions were really basic, like, does it have an achievement system? That's not a big ask. PS4, Xbox and PC all have it. It's not like it's some big trade secret that you will lose your job over. It's not like you're saying a specific motherboard or component, or talking about a title like Pokemon Stars that has not even been announced yet. It's just a simple question. Is there an achievement system? And the response? We have nothing to announce at this time. Really? Such a simple question about a basic feature for your system that comes out in less than 40 days, and you are saying that you can't say anything. And 90% of all the questions were like this. Basic, simple questions about key features. Features that would determine whether general consumers will buy this thing or not. And they're saying, we have nothing to announce at this time. How, if at all, does the Switch connect to Wii U and 3DS owners' existing accounts? We have nothing to announce at this time. Will the Switch be compatible with existing Virtual Console purchases? We have nothing to announce at this time. Will the Switch have its own library of virtual console games that starts from scratch, or will it bring over the virtual console library from the 3DS and the Wii U? We have nothing to announce at this time. How will the SNES Online functionality work, and which games will it support? We have nothing to announce at this time. Is there a trophy or achievement system? We have nothing to announce at this time. Nothing to announce at this time? Then when, pray tell, are you going to announce all this stuff, Nintendo? After the console is already out? Well, it will be a little bit too late then, as people are already being turned off from getting this thing because you're keeping everybody in the dark about what this thing actually does, things that are coming with the system, and what features are missing, so who knows. Now, of course, they were not all the non-answers of we've nothing to announce at this time. There were some questions that Nintendo graciously answered, although the answers themselves left a lot to be desired, with basic things omitted from certain areas that definitely make it look unfinished or just not ready for its actual launch. And we're going to make a little list on the side of the unfinished features once we get a little bit further down, but first we'll start off with the 32GB thing. So the first statement, or the first question that was truthfully answered, was, for those concerned about the 32GB of storage, how will that work for playing downloadable games, how will it work for DLC and patches? Nintendo's response was, the Nintendo Switch system has 32GB of internal NAND memory, a portion of which is reserved for use by the system. So it's kind of like you're not going to get the full 32GB of storage system. It's more, you're going to get to use 27 of it, and then the other 5 is going to be used for system processes, which is pretty abysmal for a current gen console, or even just a current gen anything. Even the newest iPhones, that being the Samsung Galaxy 6 and iPhone 6 upwards, have a minimum of 32GB, and that's for the most basic model. So the fact that you've only got 32, and even then a couple of the gigabytes are used by the system, so it's more 27, is pretty bad. Then it's okay though, because you can expand the memory using micro SD cards. The SD cards support 2TB of storage. Note, 2TB are not yet on the market, but Nintendo will support them when they are. We're going to flick over to a picture now. This is from Amazon, and this is SanDisk, one of the most recognizable micro SD and SD card manufacturers on the market. And even them, as forefront market leading as they are, even they only go up to 256GB. So I look forward to that 2TB micro SD card in the year 2069, because as of right now, we've not even got the 512s. We haven't even got a 1TB, so 2TB isn't going to happen for years. And we don't know what's going to happen in years to come. The Switch might be dead at that point. And the 256, just the 256, so you can imagine how expensive the 2TB would cost. The 256 is $144.99. Let's call it £145, which equivalates to $171, and that's if you get the standard packaging and standard shipping and the Amazon deal that they're currently doing. If we look in the back there, normally a 256 is £169, which translates to $209, and if we're going to be saving, which we'll see in the next statement when they talk about save files, but if we're going to be saving full-on worlds and player datas and everything to the internal memory, and it's going to be big worlds like Skyrim and Breath of the Wild, then that 32GB is going to be eaten up really quickly, and you're going to need an expanded memory. And 256, you're probably going to need, probably not a 256, maybe a 128. I've got a 128 PlayStation, and that's been doing fine as it is. It is getting a little bit full, but if you wanna buy this thing at launch and make sure it's gonna last for the entirety of its lifespan, you're probably looking at the 256, which is $209 retail price So you're expected to pay the $300 for the system, another $200 for the memory, and then $50 for the game, maybe even $100. Moving back over to the statement though, so obviously the SD cards are expensive, and it compounds the issue even more from the next part of the statement where it says Nintendo will support them when they are available. External USB hard drives are not supported at launch, which is a huge detriment because internal external storage hard drives are a bigger storage system and they are more well manufactured. The Wii supported external hard drives, and myself that's got both a Wii U and a PC, I've got a 1TB external hard drive for the Wii U, I've got a 2TB external hard drive for my PC, and then within the PC itself I've got a 1TB C drive for all of these videos and a 2TB D drive where all of the archived footage goes. So external hard drives are a lot better at saving memory and can go up to 2TB, and the fact that your previous console had external hard drive use but this one doesn't brings it down. And of course it says not supported at launch. Those are the main words. So they're saying, well, it will when it's done, but it's not finished yet because this system is unfinished. So let's now add to this list, and we'll make a little list on the side of unfinished features that are going to be coming to the Switch, but they're not going to be there at launch, because it seems like, if we go to this comment, and I pretty much agree with this comment, they are releasing a broken, unfinished console, kind of like Street Fighter V, just to make sure it's out for Zelda. Everybody's waiting for Zelda so long. We need Zelda now. The Switch is not ready, sir. The Switch is not ready, sir. It doesn't matter. Zelda's got to go out now. Even if the Switch is unfinished, shove it out. We need to get it out for Zelda. And I do agree with that from the list that we're about to compile. So let's add external hard drives missing at launch as a missing component at launch, and continue to move on to the other questions that Nintendo did answer. So we continue the statement about the 32GB thing, which talks about the save data. So, if no microSD card is used, everything is stored in the internal NAND memory. So remember, that is absolutely everything, including save data. If a microSD card is used, game save data is stored to the internal NAND memory, while data that can be re-downloaded, such as digital games and game updates and DLC, is stored to the microSD card. Nintendo Switch game cards are non-writable games. Game save data is stored in the internal NAND memory, which means it doesn't matter if you've got an SD card in or not, the game save data is always going to save to the internal NAND memory. And if you are playing, and this is what I was saying moments ago, if you are playing a big game like Breath of the Wild or Skyrim, that's a lot of data that's going to get saved, because with other cartridge based save features, like let's take Pokemon for example, everybody knows Pokemon, the world, the assets, the Pokemon, they're already in the game, they're already saved onto the cartridge, and when you save the game, all that's being saved is the clothes you've put your character in and the Pokemon that you've got on your team and the items you've got in your bag. That's what's being saved. All the little tweaks that you make is what's being saved, but the world overall doesn't change. The world is set in stone, it's just the little tweaks that you make that save. Here, because they're saving all the game save data to the internal memory, the world itself also has to be saved to the internal memory. If we think about it like Skyrim for example, when you're in an open world like Skyrim and you save the game in Skyrim, it saves your location. Like, it doesn't need to save the world because the world's already pre-built like Pokemon. It just saves where you are in the world and the stuff you've got on it. But with it saving everything on this game save data to the internal memory, it's going to have to save the world, where you are in the world, what items it's got to save everything, and that's what's going to eat up your internal memory, and it's absolutely stupid. Like, I cannot understand, and this is probably the one that aggravates me the most. I do not understand at all what Nintendo's thinking is making a cartridge-based system where the world and all of the assets are not saved onto the cartridge. I mean, they are saved onto the cartridge, but why is your game save data not like Pokemon, so the cartridge just updates where you are in the world and the items you've got, rather than having to save the world and all of its assets onto the internal memory? So that's a problem. So yeah, I mean, I can't really list it as a missing feature. It's just a stupid Nintendo move to put the entire save data onto the internal memory rather than just saving it to the cartridges as per normal. But now we'll go into the other questions and the other missing features. So the second missing feature, we already know, Nintendo already announced this during the Switch presentation, which is the online services, which will not be in at launch. Instead, we will get the free trial period across the summer, and then the full paid for version will come out in the fall. So that is our second missing feature. Put it up on the list there. Moving on to the third missing feature, it is to do with the share button. The question, how does the share button work? Does it allow you to capture video as well as screenshots? More importantly, will it allow you to stream on Twitch or YouTube? Nintendo responding with a statement that kind of avoids the question at first, saying the capture button is located on the Joy-Con L controller and a Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Yes, we already know where it was located, and lets users grab screenshots from their games. They can then view, edit, add various size, text and colours and positions, and then post them to social media. The original unedited screenshot is also saved. We are planning to add the ability to record videos in the future, but not yet. Again, not at launch. This is a feature that is not finished, so we are releasing it with another unreleased feature or a missing component at launch, which is the video streaming side of things. And they only said that you will be able to capture video. They have said nothing about streaming it on Twitch or YouTube, although one of the next statements does kind of confirm that. So let's also add no video capturing sharing capabilities up on the list as the next missing feature. Moving down, we will continue with the whole streaming service thing, which is this question here. Will the Switch support Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, HBO Go, or any other? Now, any other, of course, means like Twitch streaming or any other streaming services. All of our efforts have gone towards making Nintendo Switch system an amazing, dedicated video platform. So it will not support any video streaming services at launch. However, support for video streaming services is being considered for the future. So again, it would easily have Netflix. We don't have Netflix really in England. That's this more of an American thing, but yeah, they're considering a movie streaming service like Netflix in the future, and video streaming services like Twitch and YouTube in the future, but again, not at launch, a missing feature. And now, with all of these missing features that we're seeing here, all of the silly little Nintendo moves like having to have the online and the parental controls on a smartphone app, all the vagary, the smoke and mirrors with the withholding of information. Not only now, as we reach the 11th hour, is it putting people off buying the thing, with many like this person here cancelling their pre-order. Does all this sound familiar? It should. We've been here before, with all these non-committal answers, promises of features that may come out in the future, and so on.
Will I get bored playing this game? No. Will you be able to play with your friends? Yeah. 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 Can you grief other players? A little bit. Can you customize the look of your character? Sort of. So do you often go to planets and you're just like, well, this is just a total dud?
No, not that often. Sometimes.
You land on a comet.
Yeah, at the moment you can land on asteroids.
Do the animals eat each other?
Yeah, they do.
Easalois is near the solar system's sun, so its surface is quite toasty. Some stubborn life forms have learned to survive here, but you won't unless you've crafted enough tech upgrades to be out in the sun. Bellari 5 is furthest from the system's sun and is thus a bit chilly. You'll need thermal protection lest you get frostbite and die.
Will the game be fun?
Yes.
Well, if you...
Now, it's nowhere near the level of One Man's Lie, but it's got all the hallmarks, like the vagary. Taking Sean Murray and No Man's Sky for the example, everything Sean said was not technically a lie. If you noticed in those little clips I showed you, he always either laughed it off like, is there any dud planets? Not really, sometimes. Or like the other one where it's customizable characters. Is the customizable characters? Sort of. Like, he always never really said yes or never really said no. Or he said something that was in the game at the time, where it's like, can you land on a comet? Yeah, at this point, he specifically said the words, at this point in the game you can. And that sand planet that he showed, it's in the game somewhere. It might not be explicitly actually playable right now, but there is the evidence for you on screen that at some point in development it did exist, and somewhere in the game's files, it might be very deep down, very hidden, but that sand planet is still technically there. So he technically, nothing was a lie, nothing was objectively explicitly promised, it was more hinted at, offered, implied, and the same is turning true here. We can take any part of the Switch and Nintendo's comments about that section, and we can see the ties between Kimishima and Sean Murray, or as we could now call it, Kimishima Murray. Looking at the share feature, for example, the question is clear. Can you capture videos and can you stream them on Twitch? Both can be a quick yes and no answer. You could say, yes you can capture videos, but no you can't stream on Twitch. That simple. But like Sean, the answer is spoken in hypotheticals, saying where the capture button is located to avoid the question, then, like Sean, hinting at, implying, maybe giving that video capture will come out in the future, but nothing's set in stone. That way, if video capturing does not come to the Switch, well, you can't say they lied, as they did not. Like, yes, it was alluded to that video capturing would be on the Switch, but never 100% stated as fact. And as we saw from the comments at the beginning of this video, it's not a good look for Nintendo, and it's making them look nearly as bad as Hello Games. Now, by no means am I saying Nintendo is flat out lying or is definitely as bad as Hello Games, but as release draws ever closer and they continue with this we have nothing to announce at this time vagary, and saying all about these features like video streaming that's not there for the foreseeable future, but maybe it might come possibly, it's looking more and more like an unfinished console, and a lot of people, like our aforementioned commenter, are pointing that out. And now with this cloud of speculation growing ever bigger, more and more people are getting worried that their $300 is going to be sank into an unfinished product, and more people are not willing to take this risk and are now cancelling their pre-orders like the previous gentleman we just featured. Nintendo, listen. Okay, I want you to take this video to heart, okay? Because I get it, okay? I do. I know why you're shy about releasing all these statements about features and specs, because of this stupid twat and this other stupid twat. This is a 20-minute, possibly even 40-minute story for another day, but from this tweet by Bandit Charlie Brown here, and Etika directly antagonising Nintendo by flaunting his hacked 3DS by purposefully showing the free shop and FBI.
And we're gonna open up this. We should be good. All right, we're good. This is actually really easy. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about this FBI shit. These programs. Y'all don't need to see this. Y'all don't. Oh, the free shop. What's that? Well, y'all don't know what. Y'all don't even need to see none of that. That's okay.
Then daring to block his system by saying Nintendo can't because he's got a hacked system.
And people are like, oh, banned. Oh, Etika, you're gonna get fucking kicked out of the event because of this shit. Man, Nintendo really gonna try to kick me out over playing some Pokemon Prism version on stream? I'll let them. I'll show them a Prism, nigga. I'll show them a Necrozma, nigga. Nintendo's bricking your ass. No, they can't do shit against me. I got all 9 loader hacks, nigga. They can't brick my system. Okay, let's start this Prism shit, man.
With all of this in mind, with the complete systematic breakdown of hacking of the Wii U and 3DS, the threats by Smay that the same fate will befall the Switch that it did the Wii U, and Etika directly antagonising them, is it any wonder that Nintendo is reluctant to reveal details? They're paranoid that even the smallest thing will result in the destruction of their precious Switch. And while it might certainly be the case, for the most part, as of right now, you're doing that to yourself, Nintendo. You have this month to give the general consumer all the information they need to make their decision, because as of right now, you're putting a lot of people off. You know what happens if you fail. You're standing on the razor's edge. So for now, please, let's have no more of this "we have nothing to announce at this time" silliness. Just answer the questions fully and honestly and let the consumers make their choice. Then once you have reinstilled some faith in the Switch and you've got people buying the thing, then we can work on your hacking problem. Well, did you enjoy that? I'm sure Nintendo didn't, but of course everyone's going to be asking me why I called it Spyroquistion and why I used Jim's intro. And I'm going to throw up some screenshots now just to show you so that you can get a kind of idea of why. So as you can see, these are screenshots of Microsoft removing all footage of Scalebound. They have removed the Scalebound website, they removed the Scalebound videos. This is a print screen of a lot of people not happy about that, and I wasn't happy about that either. And I've always had 2 projects in mind, and across this year I'm going to start doing them because I've got most of the pieces in place now. I've got like the source filmmaker model that you're seeing right now sitting at the desk, and I've always had these 2 ideas in mind. I've always had these 2 projects in mind, and this is what I kind of want the channel to become. Like, there's always going to be gameplay, but I've made 2 channels. So we've got this channel, which is the gameplay and all the fun stuff and you know, just daily content. But I've got the other channel, which is connected to the Google account, I guess, and there would only ever be 2 things uploaded on that channel, which would be the Spyroquistion, and just, that's not a real name, but just roll with it for a second. But the only 2 things, because they would be the things I'd be most proud of and the things that I would put thousands of hours in, because like a Let's Play video, you can only put so many hours into it. Even with like Tier of Grace, full on editing, you're only going to put like a day, maybe 2 days work into it, whereas the 2 projects that I've got planned that I really want to work on, which is a kind of review show, like, you know, Cad Icarus, Lonely Goomba, you know, a kind of comedy style review show, and Spyroquistion. Those 2 would be like the best quality shit, and I wouldn't want them to just get lost in the flood of Let's Plays. That's why I'd put Spyroquistion and the review show. And again, I don't have a name for that, and we're going to talk about naming conventions in a minute, but I'd want those 2 on their own channel, so that you can view them without having to siphon through all of the Let's Plays if you're not into the Let's Plays. And showing that scalebound footage, as I say, I've always wanted to do this kind of analysis videos, if that's what you'd like to call them, or journalism videos, where I have a outro, an intro, and the bit in the middle. But as I say, I want to put a lot of time into it. I want a lot of things done, and I've wanted to do this because, as with Scalebound, I really wanted Scalebound. I am really, really annoyed that Scalebound got cancelled. And when Scalebound was cancelled and Microsoft was doing all of this, hey, we're removing the videos, we're removing the website, it did infuriate me quite a lot. And I was like, you know what, this isn't just your regular turn on Starbound, throw your voice over the top. We're going to take these print screens, we're going to show the evidence, we're going to do a full edited journalistic report on Microsoft being a dick to Scalebound and Platinum Games. And it came and went, like, you know, that was last week, and I was like, man, I wish I had all of the stuff in place, and all the stuff wasn't in place. Now with this one, even though the stuff isn't in place, it had to be done, you know. The Switch is coming out in less than 2 months. Nintendo is still not telling the consumer anything with all of these "we have nothing to announce at this time" bullshit. You do have stuff to announce, Nintendo. You are less than 2 months away from release, and it's obviously, from the comments we've seen, it's putting consumers off. Consumers aren't going to buy a product they don't know about. You know, you're wanting them to buy on faith alone, and it's not a good idea. And that's why we did the episode, because there are a lot of friends that I know, you know, Swoop, Star Vagrant, Divaku, all these people want to get a Switch, and they are still probably going to get a Switch, but at the same time, they're asking me questions, because I've got a PC, and I know all the specs of PCs. I know about CPU inputs, I know about using 32 NAD memory, 2GB things. I know all the specs. So they're like, Spyro, do you know the specs of the Switch? Do you know this about Switch? It's like, no. But it's like, you're the gamer, Spyro. You're the guy on the internet. You're the one that does all your research. You should know what the specs are. It's like, Nintendo's not telling the specs. Nintendo's not telling me whether it's going to have achievements. Nintendo's got nothing to announce at this time. It's like, oh, well, I mean, that sounds kind of bad. I'm like, yeah, it is. And as we've seen again from those comments, a lot of people are cancelling the pre-orders. So I got to the point of like, this can't like go unnoticed. This particular one, for the sake of the consumers, has to go up, just to make sure people aren't getting diddled by Nintendo. And they may release all these answers in the next month, but right now they're trying to do a lot of underhanded smoke and mirrors and say, oh, we've got nothing to announce at this time about key features that people need to know about. And they might be trying to sell something that isn't really that good, but nobody knows. So I'm like, okay, this one has to go up, even if it's not ready. So in the future, and this is where I now want all the feedback, like, I want to now use this as the beta episode to collect every piece of feedback. I mean, I already know what the first episode script is going to be, and it's like, more news isn't bad news, you know. Just because I'm doing it doesn't take away from Jim's doing it. That's just twice as much content for you guys, so you can watch him and you can watch me. It's double the content. We're not taking away from each other, so it's kind of like, more of something isn't a bad thing. There is obviously more to that, but I'm kept you for 7 minutes and I don't want to rag on that any longer. You know, you can always ask me in the comments about that one if you like. But for now, let's take this as a beta episode and let's take this as feedback. So first of all, the intro and the outro. Right now, it's just the still image of me sitting here at the desk. It's not animated in any way, and by the time we come back, these will be animated. So the next time you see this on the second channel, the intro and the outro will be animated. As for assets, this is now where I'd like to have all of you give me your feedback. So first of all, the name. Obviously, Spyroquistion is a shit name. It's a terrible name, and it's ripping off Jim Sterling, and everybody will just call it a rip-off, and we don't want that. We don't want a rip-off. I just did this as kind of half parody, half let's get some feedback type thing. So throw some names at me. It doesn't matter how bad you think it is. Throw a load of names at me, and once we get together, because I want the whole thing to be like built by the community in a way. So once we all get together and we throw some names at each other and throw some music at each other, we'll see. Because it's like, what should the name of the show be? Like, give me a load of names. Tell me a load of names. I mean, I want Spyro in there somewhere, so if you could include Spyro, that would be great. But throw me a load of names in the comments section so that I can actually have a name to put on like the little logo, like this title screen thing here. Secondly, obviously the intro, Jim Sterling uses Born Depressed by Drill Queen. What music do you think I should use? You know, I was thinking Wild Flight from Spyro 1. You might have some different ideas. So I was thinking Wild Flight from Spyro 1. What music do you think I should use? What music do you think I should use across the show where, you know, in his it's like do 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 do, like what music do you think I should use in the show? What do you think the design of the logo should be? Like, throw me all the ideas that you want to see. Throw me names, throw me music you like to see used. Throw me a load of ideas my way. And then, like, once I've got some ideas of what the show is exactly going to be called and what music we're going to use, I can commission the logos, I can commission the actual intro title music thing, I can commission all of the stuff. So no, I am not ripping off Jim Sterling. I just wanted to use this as a beta, as an information gatherer to basically say what you guys want to see, and then once we've got the name that you're all happy with and I'm happy with, and the music that you're all happy with and I'm happy with, I'll then commission the intro music. So let me know all the feedback. Give me all the feedback in the comments section below. And yeah, this was the only one that I wanted to do in a bit of a rush, because Nintendo really needs to tell the consumers just what the hell's going on. But like the Scalebound one, no, I'm annoyed Scalebound's not coming out, and maybe at a later date I would have liked to have covered it, but I think that moment's already been and gone now. So yeah, I'd like to start working on this across this year and get the show running so that we don't miss out on real big topics that I personally want to cover, and of course other topics that you'll want to cover as well. Because if it's dead for a while, like, you know, I might do Scalebound week 1 and something else week 2, but then it might be dead week 3, and I'll be like, hey, it's dead week 3, nothing's happened. What do you want to see happen, or what do you want to see me talk about? Then everybody can also leave comments on topics that they want me to cover as well. But yeah, so I didn't really want to make this one because it's not ready, but I can use this one as the feedback. And yeah, it's in beta. Give me feedback, and we will, next time you see it, it'll all be at its final stage, and it won't have any of Jim's assets, because we're not going to be ripping off Jim Sterling. But anyway, thank you all for watching this video. Again, please leave feedback in the comments of the name of the show that you'd like to see it named, and the music you want me to use and all like that, and I will certainly read all your comments. So if you did indeed enjoy this video, leave the feedback and the like, it does help out. And let's all thank God for Jim Sterling for letting us use the intro and the outro. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. I don't know how I'm going to end this one because it was a bit weird. All I guess I can say is praise Luna for me.